Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, searching for volume. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also remember to follow me on Twitter. I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to do so. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, one of the things that we've talked about before is that before a new uptrend can be sustained, historically speaking, you need an influx of new volume. And to show you what I mean, we're going to walk through some prior areas where we eventually got to a new sustained uptrend and what it took to get to it. Okay? So, we're going to look at three exhibits. Exhibit A comes from after the 2017 peak. We then had declining volume. Okay, declining volume. And during that declining volume phase, the market became rather dull. And then we hit a brick wall in terms of the volume, and it actually corresponded to this sell off right here. Okay. And that volume sort of flushed the remaining market participants out that were going to get flushed out. And then what happened? We started a fresh uptrend, okay, where we took out all sorts of prior levels of resistance, like they didn't really matter anymore. And we went all the way back up to $14,000 or so. And one of the interesting things is that during this move here, like what we saw back in 2017, we saw a lot of volume at the local top, right? I mean, a significant amount of volume. And then following it, we had a slow declining volume phase until we hit a brick wall, right? Until we hit a brick wall. And that led to the next sustained uptrend. Even in this most recent bull market that we just had, the actual major volume came in on that move to 42K. And then we had, you could argue, a distribution phase that lasted several months. All right. And what's interesting about this is, yet again, you had declining volume into a brick wall, which was the May 2021 capitulation. And it's like, because we got that, you could argue it helped us sustain a push to a higher price. However, the volume has just been sort of slowly declining or staying somewhat level ever since then. And so what I would like to see, we made a video about this, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. What we would like to see at some point is to see a lot of volume come into the space. It usually takes something like that to change the trend. All right, this is just what we've seen historically. Without it, you're still kind of in the dumps, and the market is very unforgiving. It just, all the pumps are just immediately sold off, right? Every single pump just gets immediately sold off. And then once you have that influx of volume come in, where you really, really bring in a ton of volume compared to the downtrend in volume that we were previously in, that's usually what sustains the next uptrend, and it breaks through these prior resistance levels. So again, you can see Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and Exhibit C. And every single time that we saw these, we had declining volume into a brick wall. And so one of the things that I'm looking for to get a bit more bullish in the short term would be to see a brick wall present itself, where you see a lot of volume, a lot higher than sort of the background volume. And if we see something like that, then I think it would be time to get a little bit more bullish in the short term and say, all right, we got a lot of volume. Now it's time to take out some of these resistance levels and actually trend higher in a sustainable manner. The problem right now that I see, and we've seen this for the last basically half year, is that every pump has been immediately sold off, and I mean, you can kind of see the nature of the trend, right? We've gone down. This pump was sold off. This pump was sold off. This pump here was just sold off. And what I continue to wait for, I want to see a lot of volume come into the space and to really show that it's a lot more than just sort of this background volume. Because again, if history is any indication, it's that sharp increase in volume that sets a new trend forward. The counterpoint, to play devil's advocate, is if you wanted to compare it to the 69K top, then you could argue there wasn't really a whole lot of volume there. So does there have to be a lot of volume at a future bottom? I would say not necessarily, but I think the counter argument to that is that this was the more impressive and significant top, not the one at 69K. And we did have a major move in the volume there. We had this brick wall, and then we haven't really had anything ever since in terms of seeing a significant amount of volume come into the space. So I think the argument to put forth really is that it seems likely that we would need a lot of volume to come into the space for us to see a sustained move higher where we take out resistance levels and the prior resistance levels get sliced through like butter. Okay. The counterpoint is to say, well, if you treat 69K as the more significant top, then there was not really a whole lot of volume there. So then why do you have to have volume at a theoretical bottom? But I think, as I said before, I think this was a more significant level after during this bull run as opposed to the one at 69K. And so I continue to just wait and look for this major volume to come through and for us to then say, all right, we're back in business. Let's go take out some of these resistance levels. Until then, of course, I think it remains prudent to just be patient, come up with whatever strategy you're going to come up with, stick to it, and just systematically follow that strategy until we see a mania phase again one day. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.